Hi, I'm Sonia Gustafson, past Forest City London Music Award winner. Please enjoy London Music Week. We are one.
Hi, Brian Vollmer from the band Helix, 2003 inductee into the London Music Hall of Fame. And I'm just here to say, enjoy London Music Week.
Hello and welcome to the FCLMA Hall of Fame inductee and Lifetime Achievement Award recipient show. I'm your host, Jennifer Watts. As we begin to wake up from the slumber of COVID-19 and start to take on our new normal, let's pause for a moment to reflect on our city's incredibly rich musical landscape by celebrating our community of incredibly talented individuals. Tonight, we get to know our class of 2020 as we induct them into the London Music Hall of Fame. So let's get started. So let's kick it off with three brothers from the big band era who left a big bang on the music community, the Niosi brothers.
Bert, Joe, and John Niosi were staples of the big band community in Canada. Joe was acclaimed as the best bassist in Canada, Johnny a sought-after drummer, and Bartolo, Bert, a band leader who played both woodwind and brass instruments. There's a famous story about him once playing every instrument in his 14-piece band except for the bass fiddle. He didn't play strings, apparently, during a Second World War benefit concert. Like the young Lombardos, the Niosis were pupils of Professor Pasquale Venuta at the Marconi Club of London. At 14, Bert went with the Lombardos to the USA for a successful 6-week engagement in Cleveland, but left the band after the tour as he missed home and his mother missed him. When he returned to London, he formed his first band with Joe and Johnny, which by 1931 became a 9-piece orchestra. In 1932, they expanded the band again and moved to the Palais Royal Dance Hall in Toronto, where in an 18-year residence, Bert became known as Canada's King of Swing. Joe Niosi left the orchestra to tour Britain with Ray Noble's orchestra in 1938. Johnny played with an RCAF band in Ottawa after he left his brother's orchestra in 1942. After the war, the brothers embarked on a career with the CBC. Joe and Bert as members of the Happy Gang, a lunchtime radio variety show that was one of the most popular shows in Canada, with more than 2 million listeners. And Johnny as a member of the house band for the After Hours television program. In the 1960s, the three brothers reunited to play background music for the CBC TV panel show Front Page Challenge. Bert went on to become the musical director of the TV series Four for the Show, Cross Canada Hit Parade, and from 1965 to 1976, The Tommy Hunter Show. John passed away in 1965, followed by Joe in 1977, and Bert in 1987. Welcome, our newest members of the Forest City London Music Hall of Fame, the Niosi brothers.
Our second Hall of Fame inductee of the evening has the power to light up a stage with his charisma. His talent led him to the Vegas Strip, where he became a showstopper at many iconic Vegas hotels. Let's get to know more about Grant Smith.
Grant Smith, a powerhouse R&B singer, was born and raised in London. At the age of 16, he was asked to leave Weeble High School. He was sitting around the house doing nothing when his mother handed him a classified ad for a drummer needed for a musical comedy act and told him to get the job or move out. He got the job, joining Zeke and the Moonshiners and setting out on the road. After a few months, he convinced the band to drop the slapstick comedy and change their name to the Missing Links. Members of that band eventually joined an act from Toronto. Grant moved out front on the microphones, and Grant Smith and the Power, or sometimes E.G. Smith and the Power, was born. They started out playing high school dances all over Ontario and Quebec, and during their first year, their upbeat R&B sound and Grant's wild dance moves helped them establish a solid fan base. The band was constantly on the road, but anytime they played London, it would be a sellout. In the fall of 1967, the band recorded its debut single, an R&B version of Keep On Running, backed with Her Own Life, an original composition by Grant Smith and organist Val Stevens. Keep On Running was released in January 1968 on Boo Records. This was followed by an album on the same label. They began a tour in the United States, and in New York City, the band was offered a deal by Tony Orlando, pop star and A&R man for MGM. And in the early spring, the single Thinkin' About You was released on MGM Records. In 1970, Grant Smith and the Power relocated to Las Vegas, where they had a successful run. Even after the demise of the band, Grant continued to work in Vegas as a singer for jingle writers, a choreographer, and as an entertainer, landing him numerous return engagements to Caesar's Palace. Grant also produced and acted in television movies, hosted the Miss Teen Canada pageant and Jerry Lewis Muscular Dystrophy Telethon, and made several appearances on everything from The Tommy Hunter Show to the Juno Awards. Smith starred, directed, and co-produced Red, White, and Hot, a Vegas-style variety show featured at the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympics. Back in Toronto, Grant has also been working on a novel and produced a documentary on Elvis Presley fans, Mentally Elvis. Welcome our newest member of the Forest City London Music Hall of Fame, Grant Smith.
Our next group of hardworking individuals have demonstrated outstanding contributions to music, as well as being strong community leaders, which is why they are going to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award for their work. As a conductor who had inspired countless community ensembles and left behind a legacy filled with notable accomplishments, it's no wonder why Martin Boundy is a Lifetime Achievement Award recipient.
Martin Boundy's musical achievements earned him the name Mr. Music. He was a principled individual, a remarkable musician, and a true pioneer whose legacy is the high musical standards he brought to London's music scene. Born in England in 1911, his family moved to Canada in the 1920s and settled in Stratford, where he studied organ and played trumpet, trombone, and euphonium with the Salvation Army Band and the CNR Employees Band. In 1939, he was appointed organist choirmaster at Wesley United Church in London. After enlisting in the RCAF in 1941, he became the first permanent conductor of the Central Band of the RCAF in Ottawa. He was commissioned and posted overseas in 1942 and was music director for the RCAF. During this period, the band played 55 concerts on the BBC and recorded for HMV, as well as the Overseas Recorded Broadcasting Service. After returning to London in 1946, Martin was named Supervisor of Instrumental Music for London schools. Martin nurtured the local scene, working with very young students, such as those in the London Police Boys Band, including future HOF inductee Graham Lear. The London Police Boys Band was so successful that it won several international awards under Boundy's guidance. He also brought together and conducted a select group of seasoned musicians, known as the Tech Concert Band, which performed on Sunday evenings at Victoria Park. The concerts were broadcast nationwide and enjoyed an enthusiastic following, both in Canada and abroad. Martin was also key in the development of the London Civic Symphony, which later became the London Symphony, then Orchestra London, and now London Symphonia. For 20 years, his pioneering spirit and determination brought that orchestra through its developing stages and increased their audience by introducing pop concerts and the music of Broadway. Boundy became Director of Music for the Catholic Board of Education, and in 1962 was honored with the Bene Merenti Medal by Pope John XXIII. Boundy later returned to Rome to conduct the Catholic Central High School Band before Pope Paul VI in 1964. He was music director 1969 to 1978 at Fanshawe College and conductor of the college's Four Counties Choir. He was awarded the Médaille d'Honneur, Confédération Musicale de France, in 1964, and was the first recipient in 1972 of the Canadian Band Directors Award of the CBDA. Boundy served 3 terms as president of the Ontario chapter of the CBDA, and in 1968-69 was president of the Canadian Music Festival Adjudicators Association. This accolade from the site Big Band Sounds of London, Ontario, sums up his contributions nicely. Without a doubt, he was responsible for London's musical development. He should be lauded for working and struggling tirelessly with what must have seemed like an uphill battle to pull London's musical scene to a higher professional level. All genres of music were influenced through his presence. Welcome our newest member of the Forest City London Music Hall of Fame, Martin Boundy.
With a lifetime dedicated to advancement and education of music and the industry, Terry McManus has worn many hats as a songwriter, performer, writer, teacher, manager, and mentor. Mr. McManus is the definition of a Lifetime Achievement winner.
An accomplished singer, songwriter, and musician, Terry McManus was born in England to Canadian parents, raised in the USA, and moved to Canada in 1968 to work as a staff writer for ARC Records. In 1970, he started working with the Ontario Arts Council as a music officer, coordinating their new pop music program, giving young artists access to recording studios and organizing concert series that offered a chance to play. While with the OAC, Terry began to record his own music and reached a deal with A&M Records. The single, released in 1971, did well on the Canadian charts, as did the follow-up singles Carolyn and Love Is Wine in 1972. All 3 tunes going to #1 in the prairies. An album was recorded, but disagreements led to the cancellation of the deal with A&M. McManus continued to write songs, but in 1975 was surprised to be given the opportunity to teach at Fanshawe College, where he was the founding member of the Music Industry Arts MIA program. For almost 40 years, McManus taught students the business and legal aspects of the industry and helped shape MIA into an industry-renowned program. Terry never abandoned his music career outside of the classroom, collaborating with popular children's performers like Fred Penner, Ernie Coombs, aka Mr. Dressup, and Raffi. He has also taken on the role of manager for acts, including The Essentials, The Birthday Massacre, and Survivor Man. In 1987, concerned with the lack of representation for songwriters in Canada, McManus led a group of people who founded the Songwriters Association of Canada. The SAC also established the Canadian Song Depository, now the Song Vault, a Canadian copyright registration service that offers a date and timestamp of songwriters' works. While he was president of the Songwriters Association, McManus published the editorial "Copyright Should Be Forever" in the National Magazine of the Performing Rights Society, PRO Canada, the precursor to SOCAN. He followed this editorial with many others that focused on music in Canada. In 2006, his writing talents led to the production of the Canadian Music Industry Primer, the first ever textbook dedicated to the Canadian music industry and the creative, technological, and business areas that it takes to be successful. The text has become the standard reference text of the Canadian music industry and is used in many music industry arts programs, including MIA of Fanshawe College. Although he retired from teaching, Terry continues to guest lecture at Fanshawe, a place he refers to as his field of dreams. Terry McManus's many roles, songwriter, performer, writer, teacher, manager, and mentor, are the definition of a Lifetime Achievement winner. Welcome our newest member of the Forest City London Music Hall of Fame, Terry McManus.
And there you have it, the FCLMA class of 2020. They will now join the likes of Tommy Hunter, Kitty, Gordy Tapp, and Indigenous music activist and community builder Mary Lou Spoke. Please join us in congratulating them on their achievements in music. They too will now hold a place inside the Forest City London Music Awards Hall of Fame. If you haven't experienced the Hall of Fame for yourself, you should. Located at 182 Dundas Street in London, Ontario, you will be amazed by the memorabilia there, the stories they share, and the incredible Londoners who have left an impact on the music industry forever.
The Forest City London Music Awards curates Canada's only city-specific music hall of fame, the London Music Hall of Fame. On November 12, 2016, the London Music Hall of Fame officially opened its doors to the public at 182 Dundas Street. The not-for-profit organization maintains the exhibits and displays and carefully preserves the rich musical heritage of London and area.
From all of us here at the Forest City London Music Awards, thank you for watching. I'm Jennifer Watts. Good night.